Have you ever wondered why some people at work seem to be rising up the ranks while others just aren't? Have you ever felt like you're a bit stuck in your career or not quite sure how to advance? What if I told you that it's actually possible for you to change all of that for the better? Flip it on its head. Well, I'm about to share a secret that you might just want to keep to yourself because it's one of the most powerful actions you can take to stand out from the crowd and accelerate your career. Hi, my name is Raf, and welcome to RISR, where my mission is to help you go further faster in your career. And to this end, a little later, I'll tell you how you can get my free guide, which goes hand in hand with this video, so stay tuned. In my opinion, one-on-one meetings with your manager are absolutely critical, and if you've seen my past videos, that may or may not come as a surprise to you. But in addition to this, there is a secret element that I believe has the power to turn these meetings into the single most important driver of career success. According to a survey by the research firm Gallup, employees who have regular meetings with their managers are about 3 times as likely to be engaged in their jobs compared to those who don't. And on the flip side, only 15% of employees who don't have regular one-on-ones with their managers are engaged in their work. Don't believe Gallup? Well, research by the Harvard Business Review shows that regular one-on-one meetings improve employee performance, increase productivity, and foster stronger relationships between employees and their managers. But unfortunately, only about half of employees actually have regular one-on-ones with their manager, and in some companies, it's a lot worse than that. So here's a question for you. Do you have regular one-on-ones? The reason why I ask is because without regular check-ins with your manager, you might just not be getting the feedback and guidance you need in order to improve your performance, which can lead to frustration, decreased motivation, and poor performance. But that's not all. You're also less likely to be aware of changes in your workplace, important initiatives, and the company's overall goals and direction, and this could leave you feeling left out, disconnected, disengaged, and make it harder to contribute. And even worse, not having regular one-on-ones can actually harm the relationship with your manager. Think about it. If you only communicate with them when there's a problem or when you need something from them and you haven't yet built that strong connection and sense of trust with them, well, that's not going to be a great place to be if you encounter difficulties at work or if you want to succeed in your role and ultimately move onward and upward. You see, these one-on-one meetings are an opportunity to do a number of things. Connect with your manager on both a personal and professional level and build a relationship with them so that you can develop trust and a sense of mutual respect. Discuss various challenges or concerns that you or they might have as they come up. Get you that important face time to discuss and get guidance on areas you might need to improve in. Play to your strengths or even end up using skills they never knew you had so that you get to be part of new opportunities and challenges. This has happened to me many times. But also, you'll be able to regularly discuss your achievements and get your manager to really understand the value you bring to the business and see you as an important part of their team. And bigger picture, you'll have an incredible opportunity to discuss your career goals and aspirations. If done right, you'll get valuable feedback, insights, and advice on how to navigate your career within your organization, who to connect with, and understand how to get ahead. And overall, you're just far more likely to feel heard, to be heard, understood, and supported, which in turn will mean that you're more likely to engage in your work and do a great job. It's what's known as a virtuous cycle, where things continuously get better over time. So, how often should you have these? Well, my rule of thumb is weekly for 30 minutes, or if you prefer, fortnightly for an hour. For me, personally, whether it's one-on-ones with my team or with my manager, this is my minimum expectation. But it does vary from there depending on personal circumstance, the nature of your work, and of course, your manager. But I think it's very reasonable to expect the equivalent of 30 minutes per week personal FaceTime with your boss. If you feel you need more, then you should consider trying to get more, but only if you're playing your part in preparing properly for them. Now, what usually gets covered in these meetings? Obviously, again, this is somewhat dependent on your manager, but usually they include such topics as updates on your work and what you've been able to achieve, constructive feedback, your workload and priorities, your thoughts on the business, including your ideas, for example, on how to improve something, your team and their performance, if you're a manager as well, your career and personal development, and the list goes on. But these are some of the common themes that you'll find yourself touching on. Now here's something that doesn't get discussed very much, but I really think this is a game changer with the power to transform your one-on-ones into possibly the single most important driver of career success, and it's very simple. As an employee, you should take the initiative and lead your one-on-ones with your manager. Why? Well, for one thing, I strongly believe in doing everything you can to drive your own career and control your own narrative. You probably won't get there by being passive. I've personally experienced very different outcomes when I started leading my own one-on-ones with my managers, and I typically encourage my team to do the same because I think they will get better results too. Don't just take it from me though. I did a little digging around and I found I wasn't alone in this. A survey from Harvard Business Review found that 84% of employees who lead their one-on-one meetings with their managers reported higher levels of job satisfaction and engagement compared to those who have manager-led meetings. And that same survey also showed that employee-led meetings led to better communication, better problem solving, career development, and goal setting. It's not a coincidence. It's a better idea to collaborate with your manager, and several studies prove overwhelmingly a strong link between this type of collaboration and improved job performance. And what do you think happens when you continually improve your performance? Good stuff. But the very simple takeaway here is don't be a passive bystander when it comes to your one-on-ones with your manager. Lead them, which leads me to the next part, which is how to prepare for them. As Ben Franklin said, by failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail. If you fail to prepare for your one-on-ones, you're just not going to get the most out of them. Not even close. All the stuff I just talked about is pretty much irrelevant if you don't prepare for them properly and figure out what to do in them. So it's well worth taking the time, even if you find yourself spending 30 minutes preparing to have a high quality 30-minute one-on-one discussion. Luckily, I've got some tips for you. Firstly, the agenda. If you don't already have one, make one. It's a great way to start leading these meetings. No boss has ever minded when I put one together. In fact, it demonstrates initiative, structure, and preparedness. In the meeting, I recommend starting with an update on your progress over the previous period. Action items, completed tasks, and ongoing work. Make sure that your achievements, no matter how small, are always front and center with your boss. This is so important. It proves you know how to get things done and that you're adding value. And then move on to any roadblocks that you have, what you're getting stuck with, and then move on to what you're about to work on next. Be prepared to talk about how you intend approaching upcoming work and get feedback and advice on anything that you might need help with. Deadlines and important dates, be prepared to talk about these and make sure that you review them regularly so that you're in good shape to meet any commitments and getting your manager's input and advice ahead of time. Make sure you're getting feedback as you move through that agenda, but every so often, I think at least every few months, get some direct feedback on your performance in general. How do you think I'm going? Is there anything you'd like to see more of or less of from me? Or things that I could be doing differently? Don't wait until performance review time. Take the opportunity to get continual, open and honest feedback from them, which will give you a chance to make any necessary changes. Your career goals and aspirations are also something that you need to make sure you cover from time to time. At least a couple of times a year, make sure your manager understands what your goals are, and hopefully this will also lead into how they might be able to help you reach them. At the very least, they'll usually give you their opinion, which is good to know. If you need help figuring out what your goals are, then I suggest talking about these more often. But don't shy away from the topic. If your boss doesn't know what's on your mind and what you're after, they can't help you. If you don't make your desires known, you might find out the hard way, like I did, that you lose opportunities to people who do have these discussions. This is about giving yourself a chance by putting yourself in the game. Now, moving along, if you have any issues or concerns, raise them with your manager at your next one-on-one so that they can help you find a solution, and make sure you leave enough time to talk through these. By the way, if you're a manager yourself, then make sure that you're also covering off all of these items in relation to your people, as individuals and as a team. Moving along again, always write down your actions and cover these off at the next meeting. And be selfish. This is your meeting. Even if your manager is a strong personality who drives it and sets their own agenda, get into the mindset that you own them and make sure that you get to discuss what you need to, even if you have to schedule extra time or have longer one-on-ones. This general approach has worked well for me over years in many different roles and seems to work well for my people as well. It's not a tick box exercise though, and I don't always do them exactly like this either. With experience, you'll find what works best for you in different situations. Let me know if you have any questions or comments below, and if you agree or disagree with anything that I've said. Now, if you happen to be a manager yourself, then keep an eye out for the next episode where I talk about how to have effective one-on-one meetings with your direct reports. The flip side of this one. Okay, now, a little about this free guide. It contains the information, tools, and templates you need to make every one-on-one with your manager count. There's a section on best practices. There's a section on tips, which goes a little more in depth on some of the things mentioned in this video. There's a bonus section on virtual meetings and how to handle those. There's checklists for you to use as guides to prepare for your one-on-ones with special sections for those of you who are managers yourselves. There's an FAQ section, and there's even a simple meeting template which you can copy and paste into whatever application you use, which works together with the checklist I just mentioned. All of this is absolutely free. It's my gift to you. Download it, use it, and please do me a favor. If it was useful, please come back and let me know in the comments. I'd really appreciate that. Before you go, if you enjoyed this video, then give it a like. If you'd like to see more like this, then subscribe and press the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes when they're released. Don't forget to share this episode with a friend or colleague, helping them to go further faster as well. Till next time, keep rising.